Hi, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while, I know. Today I'm doing my review for the month of June for my Year of Happy series, and the theme was attitude. So I made a couple decisions this month because obviously, like I said, I was gonna try to get back on my uploading schedule and stuff, and I felt extremely overwhelmed, and it was a really busy month, and this month is gonna be probably even busier. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of a load off my shoulders for now, and I'm kind of announcing a little change in schedule. So from now on, instead of doing an overview and a review for each of the months of my Year of Happy series, I'll only be doing a review. And I won't be doing Year of Happy videos every Monday, only whenever something kind of feels appropriate and kind of feels like it's along the theme, and just whenever I feel like it. So Monday videos are going to be optional. It's going to be whenever I do have time and whenever I do have inspiration. I'm going to stop putting so much pressure on myself. And as for school vlogs and for School Tips Saturday, since it's the summer, most of you are probably not even in school. I'm still doing school through the summer. I'm actually sprinting through it. Since Tim's not there, I figured I could finish in 2 months instead of 3. So I'm just doing everything way faster. So because of that, I will only be doing one school-related video a week. So it will either be a school tip video or a school vlog. They will both be coming out on Saturday. So every Saturday you can expect a school-related video, but sometimes there'll be a school vlog, sometimes there'll be a school tip, and I'll be back with weekly school tips in the fall. So that's it for the uploading schedule. I hope you are okay with that. It's just it's my way of dealing with everything right now because I do have quite a bit on my plate. Now let's just go through the review for the month of June. So this month I did a lot of school stuff. I had my midterm last week. I also traveled back home and then traveled to visit Tim for Canada Day weekend, so July 1st. So it's half in June, half in July. So I wasn't here the last week of June, and I didn't prepare anything, so that's why nothing went up. And I managed to read quite a bit of stuff this month. It's pretty crazy, especially with audiobooks and being on the road so much. So I'll just let you know what are the things that I've read, and then I'll go into a little bit more detail about what my month was about. So the first book I read this month was The Four Agreements, Toltec Wisdom book by Don Miguel Ruiz. And I've listened to that book a few years ago, but I decided to reread the whole thing, and I read it in a day. It's a really, really short read, so I read it one night, and it was really, really good. And it's kind of like a Bible to me. I feel like I'm going to reread this book over and over again until I just know it by heart. After that, I read the first book of Sarah Knight, The Life-Changing Magic of Not Giving a Fuck. How to stop spending time you don't have with people you don't like, doing things you don't want to do. So I read Get Your Shit Together a couple months ago, and I really wanted to read the first one she did, since that was a sequel, and I really, really enjoyed it. I think I like the Get Your Shit Together better, but still, I really liked it, so I read that. Then I attempted to read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, but I decided it was a little bit too spiritual for me right now. I don't feel like I'm ready to really fully take in what's in that book, so I decided to postpone it to most likely November, when I'm doing my month of spirituality. So I definitely want to read it this year, but just didn't feel like the right time for me right now. And finally, the last book I read this month was You Are a Badass, How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life by Jen Sincero. So I started listening to the book, I think it was back in February maybe, and I decided I would rather read it, so that's what I did. I read it. and that pretty much concludes the books that I read this month that were kind of along the theme of attitude and stuff like that. As for audiobooks, they're more or less related, but I just enjoy biographies and sometimes novels and things like that on Audible, and audiobooks and things like that. So the first book that I read or listened to on Audible was The Alchemist by Paul Coelho. I think that's how you say his name. So that was that's pretty much a classic. I think I'd never heard of it, but everybody was recommending it everywhere I looked, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna read it. And it was really good. It was a very fast read or listen, so it only lasted a day or two, but it was really, really good. And when I was done with that, I think I read Orange is the New Black by Piper Kerman. So I kind of recently, in the last few months, binge watched the entire series on Netflix, and I was really excited for the new season to come out, and I watched it in a day. during this month. But yeah, so I really enjoy Orange is the New Black, but I know like it's only loosely based on the actual true story of Piper Kerman. So I wanted to actually listen to the actual story, and it was really interesting. There was a lot of differences, but you can still see like kind of like all the related things that happen in the TV show and the books. So that was a really fun read. Then I listened to Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. I actually decided to buy the hard copy this weekend because there was this sale where you could buy like a bunch of classics like 3 for $10 at Chapters, but I only listened to it. And it was a really good book. Like once again, it's like kind of a classic that I never really read because I went to school in Quebec and like we don't read classics there apparently, so I have a lot of catching up to do. But that's a book that Tim really likes and he was always referencing, so I was really excited to read it. When I was done with that, I don't know why, but I decided to listen to The Battle Hymn of the Tiger Mother by Amy Chua, and it's basically a book about an Asian mom raising her children like the Asian way. And I wanted to read that because like Tim is like a somewhat tiger mother, so he's always like talking about his experiences and stuff, so I wanted to kind of read about it just to like know a little bit more. So obviously like not everything is the same, but it's still an interesting book. And then I decided to listen to So Much I Want to Tell You, Letters to My Little Sister by Anna Okana. I was actually not even subscribed to her channel. I don't know why. Like she's like super popular, but apparently I never really stumbled upon her channel or something. So I saw that like she was in the list of YouTubers who wrote books. So then I looked her up, watched a couple videos, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna read her book. I read her book and I loved it. So then I started watching everything she has on her channel. Kind of binge watching every single video she's ever made. But yeah, it was a really good book and it was pretty inspiring. Like it was really relatable and stuff in some ways at least. So yeah, so I really enjoyed that book. And finally, the last book I decided to read, I think it's a YA novel, I'm not even sure. It's called The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. And it was like a bestseller and it was always on the front page of Audible, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll give it a try, and I really, really, really liked it. I want to buy the hard copy. And it was, it's basically a book kind of like about racial profiling, so it's like this teenage girl, and like she sees her friend get shot, they're black, in a black neighborhood, and a white cop shoots them. I feel like it's pretty relevant to like the whole like police brutality that's going on in the States. Even though we don't really suffer from that here in Canada, I still found it interesting to like read a YA novel about it because it's kind of bringing awareness to like younger audiences and stuff. So yeah, so I really like that book. So that pretty much concludes the books that I did read this month. That's like 9 total, I think. So it's still pretty big reading list, and I think I'm gonna read even more next month because we started the month and I listened to the whole way to Fredericton when I was visiting Tim and like the whole way back. So I listened to a bunch of books that I count in my July reading list. So yeah, I already have a lot of books read. But stay tuned, at the end of this month you'll be able to see the review now that I'm not doing an overview. Now this month I started going to the gym again. I started it and I loved it. I mean, I think I started maybe back in May, like at the beginning of May, but like my gym routine really got into it this last month. So I started going almost every day. I went to yoga classes like 5-6 times a week, sometimes even 2 classes in one day, because they have a really good yoga classes schedule at my gym. Then I also did some cardio and some powerlifting as well, at least like 4 or 5 times a week. I started eating better, lost a few pounds. I nailed my routine. You have no idea, okay? Like ever since January, I've been struggling to like get into a routine and stuff. So I think I talked about it a little bit in my overview, but basically I started using the app Productive again, the one that I talked about back in January. And so I tried to like do it a little bit smoother this time. So I started with like 2 or 3 little things that I stacked on things that I already did. Like I was already brushing my teeth, so I just added my skincare before I brush my teeth. So every time I'm about to brush my teeth, I wash my face first and things like that. So I got to add my skincare routine. I also added my vitamins. I've been taking my vitamins every day. That's crazy. It's the first time I ever do it for that long, I think. I've also been reading every day. That I was already doing. So now whenever I close my book every night before I go to bed, I also write in my journal. So I've been journaling for like, I think it's like 19 days now. Every single day I've been writing in my journal So proud of myself. Finally getting into good habits. Woo! So, yeah. I meant to do that in January, but, like, sometimes things just get very overwhelming, and I guess this month was, like, I was more receptive, and maybe I had more time, or just more willpower or commitment. I don't know. But I managed to do that, so this month, that's coming July, I'm gonna try to add a couple more habits and just, like, very slowly build onto that, because I feel like if I stopped using the app, I would probably stop doing it, because I really like just checking them off and having like good strikes, you know. So I'm gonna keep the app for at least like 3 more months, promise, and I'm gonna try to add little things every now and then, so I can build on my good habits and create even more good habits. Like I said earlier, I did my midterm, I had a couple assignments, whatever, nothing fun about school. And I also watched 2 very good documentaries. There was more that I wanted to watch, but unfortunately I only made it through 2. So I watched The True Cost and Embrace, that are both on Netflix. I talked about them in one of the videos I did for the Year of Happy series. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. I think that covers it all. I think this video is very long, so I'm gonna leave it to that. Alright. Thanks for watching. I love you guys. Make sure to thumbs up the video if you're excited for the new uploading schedule and for like whatever is to come. I am not going anywhere, and I'm working on a lot of really fun projects for the fall for back to school, so stay tuned for that. It's coming. And yeah, thanks for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!